My name is Nitin Rawat. I am a petroleum engineer. I did it from MIT Pune. And I have worked with Byju's and Topper Technologies. And since last 3 years, I have been teaching in classroom programs for IIT JEE and NEET students. So today the topic which we are going to cover is photoelectric effect. Now, as the name signifies, photo means light, electric means electricity, flow of electrons, we all know. So what is the effect of light on flow of electrons? Now, to understand this, first we need to understand nature of light. Now, till this point, we know that light is only wave nature. It showed us diffraction, it showed us interference. So all those are properties which are shown by wave nature things. But today we are going to learn that light has two different natures, wave nature as well as particle nature. So today we are going to learn about particle nature of light. That is what we call as photon theory of light by Sir Albert Einstein. This theory is also called as quantum theory. We must have heard about quantum theory. So photon theory of light or quantum theory of light. What does it say? When light shows a particle nature, it consists of small packets or bundles of energy, which is called as, or which are called as photons. Okay. So what are photons? They are small packets or bundles of energy. That is what we know. Now there are certain important properties of photons which we need to know first, and then only we'll be able to understand the actual deep depth of this topic. So the first thing which we need to know about photons is that it travels with the speed of light. It travels with the speed of light. Speed of light, you know, what is it? Speed of light is represented as c, which is 3 into 10 raised to the power 8 meter per second. Okay. Second thing which we know is rest mass of a photon is 0. Yeah, it can be a bit confusing at the start, but if a photon is at rest, its mass is 0. It does not contain any mass at rest. So that means, have you seen light at rest? No, right? Light keeps on moving, right? So that is why the rest mass of photon is 0. Next and very, very important property of photon is that photon has definite energy and definite momentum which depends on wavelength of light. Very, very important things. Now here we can write also energy of photon is equals to hc by lambda, or it is equals to h nu, or it can be written as 12400 upon lambda, that is in angstrom. And this specifically, this thing, this formula 12400 upon lambda in angstrom is in the unit of electron volt. So energy of photon is hc divided by lambda, and which we can write as h into frequency also. Now c by lambda is frequency, we can directly derive from these two things. Same way we can write momentum. So momentum of photon is equals to energy by c, that is h by lambda. Energy by c, or that is h by lambda. This is momentum. Now one important question is, what is h, right? So h is Planck's constant. H is Planck's constant. It is a constant thing, so it has value of 6.626 into 10 raised to the power minus 34 joule second, or we can write as 4.141 electron volts. Okay, so either we can write it 6.626 into 10 raised to the power minus 34 joules, or we can write it 4.141. Okay, there is one more thing which we need to add up here. Yes, so this much into 10 raised to the power minus 15 electron volt. Some people might be thinking or wondering what is electron volt. So electron volt is a unit of energy. Electron volt is a unit of energy. So here it will come electron volt second. So it will be electron volt into second. So this is about Planck's constant. So if you see here, energy of one photon is inversely proportional to its wavelength. Can you see? Energy of one photon is inversely proportional to its wavelength. So if energy of photon, or rather we should say, if wavelength of light increases, energy of photon decreases, and vice versa. Got my point? So if lambda will increase, energy of photon will decrease. Here we can make a graph as well of these two things, that how energy of photon and lambda are related to each other. Here we can make a simple graph. Now I guess till this point of time you people must have understood that how these graphs are made, how the mathematical relations work. So this is energy of photon, and this is lambda. So this is how the graphs go. It is a hyperbolic graph. Great. Now we'll come to the most important point. What is photoelectric effect? So when light of sufficiently low wavelength is incident on a metal surface, there are free electrons on the metal surface. Those are not actually free, that they can move out of the surface, but they are free to move on the surface. So these electrons, if they are provided some energy via sufficiently low wavelength, then these electrons come out of the metal surface. So that effect is called as photoelectric effect, and the electrons which are coming out are called as photoelectrons. So if we see, or if we make a simple diagram, then we can actually realize how it happens. Let this be a metal surface. Let there be some light, some sunlight coming with lambda as the wavelength. So on this surface there are electrons. These electrons, once they receive energy from here, these electrons can move out of the metal surface, and this phenomenon is called photoelectric effect. Great. So now what do you think, how it will happen? So there are certain important things to be noted down here. First thing and a very important thing, that over the top there is one point which we have left. Yes, rather there are 2 points which we have left, so we'll cover that first. Fourth point, property of photon is that in a photon and matter collision, total energy and total momentum is conserved. Total energy and total momentum is conserved whenever photon collides with a matter particle, but number of photons are not conserved there. Okay, either we can do this, here we can write it, but number of photons are not conserved. Okay, last point of these properties is that change in intensity brings change in number of photons, but energy of one photon remains the same. So energy of photon depends upon lambda, wavelength. Energy of one photon does not have to do anything with intensity. So if intensity is changing, what it means is number of photons are changing. What it is changing is number of photons are changing. So here, from here we can derive, or we can think of one more thing, that is energy is quantized. Do you know the meaning of quantized? It can be either one photon, or energy of 2 photons, or 3 photons, or 4 photons. It cannot be energy of 1.2 photons or 1.25 photons, right? So from the fifth point we come to the conclusion that the energy is quantized. Great. Now we'll again come back to photoelectric effect, where we saw this, that some energy is coming onto the metal plate, electron is getting the energy and it can move out of the surface. Great. But will this always happen, that energy is coming, electron is receiving the entire energy and it is moving directly out? No, it will not. Electrons, because here there is attraction, this is a metal surface, so there are atoms, positive nucleuses, which are there inside. These positive nucleuses will do what? They will attract this electron, they'll again try to pull it down. So what happens is, when an electron gets energy, this energy is received in the form of kinetic energy by electron. Electron gets what? Kinetic energy. So in this kinetic energy, it can run in any direction. It can have collisions with atoms, with different electrons. So due to these collisions, it may lose some energy. And finally what may happen, that it may not be able to fall out of the metal surface. But there will be a case where some electron gains energy and it straight away goes out of the surface in that direction, and then that electron is released. Okay, so first important thing which we'll note down here is one photon hits only one electron. It is not a case where one photon will go and hit one electron and then it will hit another electron and then another one. No. One photon will carry the complete energy and it will hit another electron, one electron, and it will give all its energy to that electron. Okay, great. But now tell me that, do you see this happening? You have metals at your place, right? So if you keep a metal there outside your window, sunlight is coming, so this sunlight is having energy, this energy is falling on the metal surface, but do you see that continuously electrons are coming out of the metal surface? Although we cannot see electrons, but no, it does not happen like that. Every metal has its own property, which is its own attractive power to keep these electrons bound on the surface. That boundness is called as work function. So the property of metal to keep these electrons bound on the metal surface is called as work function, which we can define in a different way also. But first, if we look out here, what happened to this electron? There was energy from the photon coming. Okay, so this energy from the photon was coming. This energy was utilized where? This was utilized first to remove the electron from the metal surface, right? First to remove the electron from the metal surface, and then whatever energy is left in it, this energy will be taken up by the electron as kinetic energy. So here we can write as, directly we'll write phi. What is phi? It is work function plus kinetic energy of electron. Okay, so as we can see, EP equals to phi plus kinetic energy. Phi is work function, which is a metal property. It will be different for all metals. Okay, so now here energy of photon depends on wavelength. Here phi depends, it is a constant quantity for every different metal, and then there is kinetic energy left. So we already had discussed that kinetic energy can range from 0 to EP minus phi. Important, keep this in mind. Kinetic energy can range from 0 to energy of photon minus phi. Here if you see, kinetic energy can be what? EP minus phi. But it can be, it is not necessary every time kinetic energy will be that much. So maximum kinetic energy, Ke max, is equal to EP minus phi. Ke max is equals to EP minus phi, in which we can write here EP as hc by lambda, minus phi is a constant quantity. Here you write Ke. So this is kinetic energy, relation of kinetic energy with 1 by lambda, you can say, or kinetic energy with energy of photon. So kinetic energy of photoelectron, kinetic energy of photoelectron, the electron which is coming out, kinetic energy is directly proportional to energy of photon, right? More energy you will give to the photon, more can be the maximum kinetic energy. Got it? More can be the maximum kinetic energy. Great. Now we had discussed about work function, that it is a property of metal. So work function can also be written in the same format, hc by lambda minus hc by lambda naught. Now what is this lambda naught? Because this is work function, there is a minimum amount of energy which is required to remove that electron from the surface. This minimum amount of energy is phi. So this minimum amount of energy can correspond to a maximum amount of wavelength, right? So this maximum amount of wavelength is called as threshold wavelength. This is called as threshold wavelength. So here also this we can write lambda naught is greater than equal to lambda, then only there will be a photoelectric effect. If the incident energy is lesser than the energy required to remove the electron, then there will be no photoelectric effect. So kinetic energy max can be equals to hc by lambda minus hc by lambda naught. This lambda naught is threshold wavelength, and the frequency corresponding to this wavelength will be called as threshold frequency. So now we can go through the definition also. The minimum energy required to remove an electron from its surface is called as work function of that metal. Threshold wavelength, the maximum wavelength of light that can remove an electron from the metal surface is called as threshold wavelength, and the frequency corresponding to its wavelength, to this wavelength, is called as threshold frequency. So the same equation we'll write in terms of frequency also. Yes. So now here we can write it. Ke max is equals to h mu minus h mu naught. That is in terms of potential which we have written, frequency which we have written here. So now we have discussed about work function. Now we know that for every metal there is some minimum energy needed. Rest of the energy can be converted into kinetic energy of the photoelectron which is coming out. We can now see this also. Yeah, we can even make a graph of this. Kinetic energy with frequency, and kinetic energy will increase. You can see here from here, because it will start from some point and then it will go like this. Kinetic energy will be directly proportional to frequency. So this is the graph which we can draw out here. Now the experimental setup through which we can actually see this happening. This is the experimental setup. There is a simple glass tube, not a simple one, it is a vacuum tube. We have created vacuum. There is a quartz window so that sunlight can come inside. This is the cathode ray, cathode basically, C, cathode, which is also called as emitter plate because it emits electrons. And this is anode, which will be called as collector plate because it collects electrons. Now here is a commutator, there is a battery, there is a rheostat, voltmeter, ammeter. Commutator's job is to invert the voltages. So now let us consider whatever we have learned till now, that there is energy coming from here, this energy will collide here, work function will be used up to remove the electron from the surface, rest of the energy of electron can be used as kinetic energy. The electron, if it has kinetic energy and it comes out of this surface, it will move towards the anode because anode is a positively charged plate. It will move towards the anode. Now here also what we have done, we have already connected a battery and we have kept this A as high potential end. So electrons will automatically run from cathode to anode, and if they run from cathode to anode, there is a current generated in it which is called as photo current, So now here only we can write photo current is generated. Great. Now this photocurrent is getting generated. Here we already knew the equation, how it is happening. Energy of photon is equals to work function plus kinetic energy, let's say maximum. Max kinetic energy which can be there of a photoelectron, that constitutes the current. Great. Now what different things were tried in this experiment, that there was light coming, we were putting sufficient energy in the light, it was of sufficient wavelength so that the electrons were running. Now if we increase the wavelength, what will happen? We have already seen kinetic energy of the electron will increase. Will it increase current? No, because current is flow of charge, amount of flow of charge. Here only one electron will have more kinetic energy. If there is only one photon coming and colliding and trying to move one electron, it will be only one electron coming. So current is not at all dependent on wavelength. Current is dependent on different thing which I'll tell you later, but here current is not dependent on wavelength. Got my point? Great. So now we'll see here what can happen. Current is not dependent on this. Now what we did, we increased the intensity. So if here we can write it. So if lambda is increased or decreased, current remains same. Better is current doesn't change. Okay, but if intensity increases, current increases. Why? Because if intensity is more, there are more number of photons coming, and if there are more number of photons coming, more number of electrons have a chance to come out of the metal surface. If there are more number of electrons coming out of the metal surface, then only current will increase. Okay, and at a certain level, saturation comes in value of current. So it is not the case that if you keep on increasing the intensity, you will be able to empty out the metal of electrons. No, it will not happen. There are limited amount of, not limited, but yes, there are a certain amount of free electrons which are there, which you can remove from that energy, and only those electrons can move on. So there is a certain saturation value to photocurrent, and this saturation value is the maximum which can flow in through that metal with that wavelength. That is saturation current. Now what happens is, if what we did in the start, we connected this anode to the higher potential. Now let us imagine that we do not want this photocurrent to be produced. So what we can do, if we do not want this photocurrent to be produced, what we need to do is we need to stop the electron to reaching to the cathode. If we can stop the electron reaching to anode, there will be no current established. Current will get only established when electron is reaching from cathode to anode. Now to stop this electron to reach to anode, what we can do is we can invert the batteries. We can take cathode as the higher potential plate, and we can take anode as the lower potential plate. That is why we have used a commutator. So if we invert it, what will happen? Cathode will become higher potentialized. So if an electron is moving from cathode to anode, this kinetic energy of electron will be eaten up by the potential energy or the work done which is to be done to reach from here to there. So if I write it, if cathode is at higher potential, then kinetic energy max, because even if one electron reaches to the anode, there is electric current getting generated. So this maximum kinetic energy, if we can directly use up in changing potential energy of electron, then we can actually do this. So this kinetic energy can become change in this, and the change in potential energy is charge Q into potential V. So this kinetic energy max can be equalized to E V naught. We write this as V naught because this is applied potential, right? So if this is applied potential, E V naught, so this applied potential is called as stopping potential, because what it does is it stops the flow of electron from cathode to anode, hence it stops the photocurrent going into the tube. This is about stopping potential. So this stopping potential is basically negative. It cannot be positive, right? And here we can again write the equation and we can actually turn the equation this time round, because kinetic energy maximum is EV naught. So we'll write energy of photon is equals to 5 plus EV naught. hc by lambda is equals to hc by lambda naught plus EV naught. H mu equals to H mu naught plus EV naught. So all these are the same equations. We are just changing the terms here, physical quantities, and we are getting the results. Okay. Now there are some very important results which we can actually show through graphs, and that is really important. Now, as I told you before, that if work function is a metal property, so it will vary for every metal, and we have made even a graph also. So now let's see this. So this is okay, this is stopping potential V naught and graph of frequency of incident radiation. Now this is V naught and this is incident radiation, how much we are putting through. HV naught is a constant, so Y equals to mx plus C. If we take it here, we can write directly H mu minus mu naught divided by E is equals to V naught. So here we can see that stopping potential, as frequency of the incident radiation increases, energy increases, and if energy increases, kinetic energy of electron increases. If kinetic energy of electron is increasing, then stopping potential has to increase. To stop that flow of current, stopping potential has to increase naturally. Next, this one, let's bring it here. Now this will show us exactly, this will show us what? Stopping potential, collector plate potential, photocurrent. Now stopping potential, as I already told you, when we had collector plate as positive, there was no stopping potential. When we put the emitter plate as higher potential plate, then only we came to the fact of stopping potential. So if it is if there are no batteries connected to the plate, there will be current flowing through it. Okay, if there are no batteries connected to the plate, there will be current flowing through it. Now we can just see that stopping potential V naught, the graph will first grow like this, and then it will slender down, because this is the limiting value, or you can call it saturation current. This is the value of saturation current. Here we saw what? Metal A and metal B are two different metals, so they can have different work function. This is work function for metal 1 and this is total work function for metal 2. Here we saw photocurrent with stopping potential. Next, which we have already discussed, that if intensity is increased, right? If we are increasing the intensity, yes. So if intensity is increasing, what is happening? Number of photons are increasing, so current is increasing. So if current is increasing, you can see in these three cases, intensity I3 is higher, so saturation current is more. I2 is lower, saturation current is in between. I1 is least, saturation current is least. But is there a change in stopping potential? No. Why? Why is that so? Because lambda is same for all intensities. In this case, in this diagram, lambda the incident radiation is same in all these intensities. Value of lambda is not changing. If lambda is not changing, energy of photon is not changing, or energy of photon is basically constant. So if energy of photon is constant, kinetic energy of electron can be only a constant, it cannot be more or less. So in all cases V0 is same. And last but not the least, yes, now you can see this. Here what is happening, there is lambda, or there is, you can say, as stopping potential, or you can say frequency, anything, but it is changing. Here it is changing. So in this graph what we can see is there are differences in stopping potential. When can a difference come in a stopping potential? Only when there is a difference in lambda. If lambda is different, then only stopping potential can be different, and the one which has maximum stopping potential has maximum energy incident. And if the energy is maximum and it is incident, then it must have the minimum of lambda, right? So here if you see, because V03, if you see V03 or V3 is highest, right, it is highest, so that means lambda 3 will be lowest, lambda 1. Okay, so here lambda is different, but in every place if saturation current is same, that means intensity is same for all lambdas. Intensity is same for all lambdas because saturation current is same here for all three values of stopping potential or lambda or kinetic energy, whatever you want to call it. Okay, so this is the entire topic of photoelectric effect.